From what we're hearing from Olivia there, nothing too radical expected in this budget today. But we do need to remember the context of all of this, and that is that headroom is looking very, very tight, isn't it, for the government to do anything radical?
Yes, I think the thing to remember is that the headroom is calculated in relation to where we might be in 5 years' time and whether the Chancellor is able to claim that he can be meeting his fiscal rules by reducing the debt to GDP ratio. You can do all sorts of things in between, of course. You can borrow an awful lot more in the next 4 years and then suddenly start cutting your spending in year 5. So the way in which the spending cuts that Olivia mentioned, which are likely to be happening for loads of departments, are phased over the next few years is going to be important. And I think we as economists are going to look at what the OBR is saying on that quite carefully. And in some ways, of course, the real worry is that if he's going to be financing or funding any tax cuts that we already have heard about by mainly reducing spending, that will mean huge cuts in some of those unprotected departments outside the National Health Service and education, for example, and possibly now, of course, defence. Given the geopolitical environment we're in, loads of other departments will see some real cuts, and we already know what's going on with local authority funding, and more of those bad news, I think, are going to be coming out of the next few months about local authorities not being able to meet a lot of their obligations, really.
Yeah, that's why it just sort of doesn't seem to hang well. A lot of people, yes, of course, they'll want more money in their pocket, but people do understand that public spending has gone to pot and we need to do something for society in general because our society does not look well. Our schools are falling down, the doctor strikes, the hospital situation, the potholes in the roads. I could go on and on and on. And then when we hear things, oh, we'll cut public spending. You know, Vicky, are people really in the mood to cut public spending?
Not really. When you ask anyone, and there have been opinion polls on that, of course, which have reinforced it, what are they really looking forward to is not necessarily a 2p cut in the national insurance contributions rate that they pay. Although, of course, they are worried about their pockets and how much money there is there, because remember, we all remember we've had years now of rapid inflation. We had very high interest rates. And of course, the tax take has been going up. So even with a cut in national insurance contributions, yes, it will offset some of the increases that would have taken place otherwise for people at work because of the stealth taxes, in other words, the freezing of personal allowances. But if you look ahead, the tax take is likely to continue to rise for the Chancellor. So this is what allows him to have a bit of headroom to begin with. And that is the headroom he now is hoping to give back, because this is an election year. So in some ways, there's political pressure for him to reduce those taxes. It's not so much that people are really clamoring for it. It is that within the Conservative Party, if he doesn't, then I think he'll be in trouble. And we've seen so many factions already within the Conservative Party becoming a little bit more right-wing, if you like, and really pushing for this government, as it goes to elections, to be seen seriously as a tax-cutting government rather than a tax-raising one.